Hi everybody, it's Celia, and I'm going to show you how to make a felted Easter egg. So here's all the things you need. You need a plastic egg, and if you're doing it with children, I like to put some tape around it so that it doesn't crack as easily when they're pushing hard on it. Then you need some dish soap, or I like to use Dr. Bronner's lavender soap because lavender is nice for the children. And I put it in one of these little jars with 1/3 soap, 2/3 water. Then I have a bowl of water here. I have wool roving, about 1/4 of an ounce, in all the colors that I need, all ready and laid out. So I'm going to move them over so you can see them. I always start out with white because it's nice to have white on the inside. And one way to help your wool stick is to put a little soap in your hand and on the egg, and then wrap the white wool around the egg as tight as you can. And you can kind of milk it around, and then you can even roll it in your hand just a little bit. And that's really all the white you need. And you can pick out the first color, and you can start wrapping that in one direction. And then you can take your second color and holding it down with one finger like that. But when you pull it, make sure you don't pull it too thin. Make sure it's still fluffy and flat. It's better to have flat layers and many of them than thin layers because it won't felt as well that way. Then you can add a third color. And each time you just wrap it. And then I'm going to add some more, this time some yellow, and wrap it around. And then I think I'll add some more blue, but this is too much, so I'm going to pull it apart. And wrap that around. Now, if you do needle felt and you want to, you can take your needle and just gently needle felt a little bit, just to keep the wool attached to itself. But if you don't, do not worry. But the next part is a little tricky, and probably even if you're doing it with the children, you should start this part first. So I put a little soap and I sprinkle a little water and just give the first preliminary go-arounds. And you'll see it gets pretty soapy pretty fast because when you put it in the water, it's going to feel as though it's falling apart. But as long as you hold it, it won't. And right now, all I'm doing is felting the outside, so it would have kind of a skin layer. But what you want is to put it in the water and hold it there for a minute. Turn it around gently because you want it to get wet all the way through so that you felt the whole egg. And then when you feel like it's all wet around, and you see it's all bumpy and because it's not fitting around the egg yet. Okay, and it doesn't have to be hot water, it can just be warm water. And then if you need to, you put a little more soap. If you're doing it with children, they love to have a lot of soap. And that's okay, because when you rinse it, you can rinse it in cold water with a tablespoon of vinegar, white vinegar, and that will cut the soap out. So now you just get to roll it. And I always, of course, sing with them. I'm rolling, rolling the wool, rolling, rolling, rolling the wool. And if it's too soapy, you can give it a little rinse. and squeeze it out. And then you can use your towel as a little resist. And of course you need a lot of towels when you're doing this with children. And it just soaks everything up, and then you can just let them dry or throw them in the washing machine and use them again. So you're going to keep rolling, 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 and this part will take about 5 minutes, maybe a little more, depending. And when I'm doing this with the children, I'll have them all pre-made like this. They're all the same for the children, so I'll make 7 of them. And then when they're all sitting around me, I'll dip it into the water, soap it up as I showed you, and then pass them around. And each child can have an egg, and they can work on it as long as they want. If they don't want to do it, it's fine. If they do, it's fine. There's always somebody who wants to do 2, so they help us, and it's a lot of fun. And all children love to play in soapy water, so warm soapy water is great. It's a great sensory experience, and it's full of color and fun. And then you just keep doing this until you really feel the wool shrink around the egg. And don't worry if it has little ridges, it'll dry and you'll be able to fix that. Or it'll just disappear when it dries. And if you need to, you can wet it again and squeeze it out. And then when you feel like it's really shrunk in there, and you see it's gotten, I can feel it, and I'll roll it and roll it. And then you have a couple of choices. You can just let it dry on the radiator or on the towel, and that will take a number of days. Or what I do is when everybody goes home, I throw all the eggs in my dryer for about half an hour, and they shrink all around the shape of the egg and makes them very solid, and it works really well. So next time I'll show you how to cut the egg open, and we'll see what comes out. Thanks for watching, everybody. For information about our program, please go to www.thecottagegarden.org. This is Celia. Bye.